Tonight on WWE, a backstage standoff between two of WWE's deadliest forces. Brock Lesnar returns and confronts Roman Reigns. Was this planned? Is the Bloodline in danger? Did the return set a new power map in WWE? Hold tight, we break down the moment, the meaning, and the madness frame by frame. If you want the sharpest story breakdowns and the deepest backstage theories, you already know the drill. Let's run it. Wrestling News WWE, Raw news, cinematic breakdowns, and WWE heat you can't miss. To understand why a backstage confrontation between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns matters, you need the calendar and the personalities. Roman Reigns has been the face of recent WWE eras, the Bloodline's commander and the industry's top heel presence. Brock Lesnar is a returning force of nature whose returns have repeatedly reshaped title pictures and locker room dynamics. When those two forces meet in a corridor, it's not just a photo op, it's a tectonic shift. This week's Raw built off recent pay-per-view fallout and return teases. The Fallout show after Crown Jewel set the canvas for multiple rivalries to either heat up or splinter. Reporters covering the Raw fallout in Perth flag the show as a turning point with major moments that will reverberate in the long-term booking plan. You don't announce Brock Lesnar's return with a handshake. WWE chose the kind of return that reads like a cold open in a thriller. The arena buzzes, producers cut to backstage, and Lesnar appears not in a ring but in the hallways where belts are won and wars begin. The visual shorthand is ruthless. A dominant physical presence returning to shift the balance from reports and fanshot clips. Lesnar's return carried dual purpose. To reinsert a real-world menace into the narrative and to create immediate high-stakes dramatic collisions with the roster's biggest names. Journalists and wrestling sites noted this was a blockbuster return. Time for maximum effect on a Fallout Raw. Seen backstage corridor, fluorescent lights, production trucks rumble in the distant background. Roman Reigns, fresh from the ring, is flanked by a remnant of the Bloodline or alone. Either choice matters for tone. Lesnar steps in a frame with an expression that needs no mic. The camera gets closed for the silent beats. Lesnar speaks in few words, Reigns answers, eyes narrow, muscles tense, security hovers, but the cameras are already rolling. The first shove, if there is one, reads as line crossing. If Lesnar strikes first, the message is clear. This isn't negotiation. If Reigns strikes first, the message is desperation. Both outcomes are explosively meaningful, and the crowd feels it through social channels immediately. Multiple eyewitness clips and fan uploads surfaced after the show, each capturing slightly different camera angles but the same raw energy. WWE sells non-televised or backstage moments by using micro-editing tricks, close-ups on perspiration and stubble, camera shake when a hand lands, slow motion for a dropped jaw, and quick-cut reaction shots from secondary characters. In this confrontation, the production team leaned into 4 cinematic beats. The shot-reverse shot between Reigns and Lesnar to establish equals on a collision course, a lingering reaction of a nearby ally, a USO, a Vision member, or even Heyman that telegraphs wider consequences, a hand tremor or micro-expression on Reigns that hints at internal conflict. Is this anger, fear, or calculated dominance? The audio bed, ambient hiss replaced by a tightening sting when contact occurs. These production choices turn a hallway dispute into a theatrical event that plays like a main event and trends like a viral clip. Fanshot uploads confirm the angle's visual potency by showing replayed GIFs and short-form clips saturating social feeds within minutes. Reddit +1 Lesnar reads as primal dominance, force, unpredictability, and the hint of a fighter who once walked in real octagons. Reigns reads as calculated dominance, political control, loyalty networks, and a public face of a dynasty. When these two archetypes face off, it's not a fight over one belt. It's a fight over the currency of power in WWE. Is the company run by brute force or by the apparatus of a leader who commands allies, social capital, and the narrative? The backstage showdown reframes both men. Lesnar's return threatens Reigns' monopoly on intimidation. Reigns' reaction, either stoic or rattled, reveals whether the Bloodline remains the top dog or has to rethink tactics. Sports and wrestling outlets frame the moment as a potential rupture in current booking. Bleacher Report +1. When Lesnar faces Reigns, the supporting cast becomes the amplifier. Paul Heyman, if present, is not a neutral party. He's both weapon and translator. His presence would signal deeper intentions. The Usos' cousins and allied stars act like barometers. Do they tighten their formation or do they look away? Reaction shots to the backstage confrontation will be the breadcrumbs for future booking. Reporters notice quick backstage whispers and social speculation that alignments might change in the short term. That's the value of a corridor standoff. You don't need a brawl to create weeks of tension and columns. PW Torch +1 from a story perspective. A Lesnar push against Reigns creates high-value television. Cabe reasons for Lesnar confronting Reigns include Lesnar believes Reigns are too comfortable and wants to assert dominance. Lesnar seeks the top prize and sees Reigns as the final gatekeeper. Lesnar has a personal history to settle. This is framed as old-school score settling rather than opportunistic grabbing. that WWE writers are aware that matching two such established acts creates immediate mainstream attention, and that attention converts to viewership, social traction, and future pay. Per-view bias. Analysts already point to these business reasons in their coverage. SI+1 within minutes of the Raw segment ending. Twitter/X threads and Reddit exploded. Fans split into camps. Some hailed the drama as a properly destabilizing swerve. Others worried about over-relying on short-term returns to generate heat. Wrestling news boards aggregated eyewitness accounts and blogger takes that vary by detail but agreed on a larger arc. The confrontation happened and it matters. Had Shimai on the backstage side, sources and rumor columns suggested there's real creative planning happening. Multiple outcomes being mapped depending on crowd reaction. That's the advantage of a corridor moment. It's a fork in the road where WWE can choose to escalate to a brawl, a booked match, or a long-term feud across brands. Reputable outlets covering the Raw results emphasized how the Fallout Raw functions as a narrative pivot. Weekly PWR scenario: a explosive collision. Lesnar returns to full-time threat. Challenges Reigns directly for the title in a marquee match within 2 pay-per-views. Expect promos. Hit-and-run attacks and Lesnar's controlled brutality. This is the high-risk, high-reward route and would likely culminate in a high-profile, violent match. Scenario B: the mind game. Lesnar plays intermittent mind games. He appears, strikes a target, then disappears, forcing Reigns to react emotionally and fracture the bloodline. This slow burn route amplifies internal tensions and turns Roman's allies into story characters. Scenario C: the align and destroy. A swerve where Lesnar allies with a disgruntled member or a returning manager like Heyman to form a new power block. This would be a booking twist that reorders several top-act rivalries simultaneously. Each option has pros and cons for character momentum and business outcomes. Analysts caution against burning marquee matches too fast, making the payoff feel cheap, so the packing choice is crucial. Bleacher Report +1, a strong feud needs micro-promos that sell emotion without over-explaining. Here are concise promo beats for each actor. Roman Reigns: I measured dress, focusing on legacy and duty. Keep it controlled with barb lines about trespassers and family protection. BrockLesnar: minimal words, use visual brutality. Lesnar can punctuate key lines. I'm back or you lost your edge to drive the message. Paul Heyman: if inserted a masterful mouthpiece speech that reframes Lesnar as necessary chaos and Reigns as complacent. Usos/allies: short emotionally charged calls for honor or action. These lines seed future betrayals or solidarity. If WWE moves toward a pay-per-view climax, consider stipulations that maximize storytelling. No holds barred: allow Lesnar's intensity to be fully expressed. Bloodline protection clause: a multi-man tag where Reigns' allies must protect his title. If they interfere or fail, the stip can have consequences. Coliseum rules: a big cinematic match with weapon use, backstage brawls, and surprise run-ins to keep viewers hooked. These stipulations let writers escalate in credible ways and give both stars reason to fight outside simple wrestling constructs. For Roman Reigns, the risk of Lesnar's return is narrative erosion. If Lesnar repeatedly embarrasses Reigns, his aura can be damaged. Reigns must land symbolic victories that reassert his dominance. Not necessarily quick wins, but meaningful wins that show strategy, resiliency, and leadership. The best story arc is a redemption with grit. Reigns recalibrates, leans on allies, and finds a new mode of aggression that's smarter, not just louder, than Lesnar's force. Fans appreciate long-term storytelling that preserves character complexity. That's SUPLEX Saga's frame-by-frame breakdown of Brock Lesnar confronting Roman Reigns backstage after his return on Raw. Tell us in the comments, which booking scenario do you want? The immediate blow-up, the mind games, or slow burn standoff? Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share your wildest theory. We'll be back with a shot-by-shot replay and guest round analysis. Wrestling News WWE signing.